drive like this. You can tell I am still here, still hanging on. But everybody, I want to say thank you for the prayers and all the ones reaching out. We've taken care of everything here. If I get sick or so, nothing to worry about. We've got all that set aside, so that's all taken care of. Now today, we've seen earthquakes and earthquakes and earthquakes. Once again, the Pacific Ring of Fire and all over the place. There's some big news about Russia too. The things that we was watching has went off in the last 24 hours. So 7.8 happened today, and the tsunami over, like I said, 10 feet hit today. Now, on top of that, there's a swarm happening off of San Francisco again. Now, the tsunami threat message today was in preparation for the 7.6 that happened there, and there's been plenty of aftershocks. There's been a couple of 5s and 6s in the last couple of hours. We've been keeping an eye on it. It says on primary data, hazardous tsunami waves were possible for the coast located within 1,000 kilometers. Now, what makes this interesting, this is the same area that happened in 2011, and it shouldn't be happening. They should have released the pressure, and it should have been a long time before this happened again. It tells us there's something else happening here. So the area that destroyed Fukushima, the nuclear power plant there, this is happening right very close. You're talking about deja vu. Poor Japanese people are probably like, oh, no. So let's see. Also, we've been seeing it at the Kamchatka area. It is starting to go off again. Let's see. Top of that. Now, tsunami warning was triggered after a huge magnitude 7.6. We just had a 7.0 in Alaska. A large earthquake struck off the northern coast of Japan last Monday, prompting authorities to issue tsunami warnings and urging residents. Now, these are all warnings. It's funny, right before the 22nd, too. Initially measured at a magnitude 7.2, centered offshore of the region of the Pacific Ocean. The seismic event occurred at an elevation of 50 kilometers below the sea surface off the coast. It is in early bulletins. The JMO warned that the resulting tsunami could reach heights up to 3 meters, 10 feet along parts of the coast. Now, coastal areas and nearby regions were placed under immediate tsunami threat. Broadcast and smartphone alerts.
No matter how bad it gets,
residents were urged to evacuate immediately.
So I'm telling you right now, I'm glad you're alive. It's been tough for you, and you're about to snap. May Yahuwah give you peace in the midst of the crap. You want to go somewhere? I'll be happy to drive and tell you straight to your face that I'm glad you're alive. I know that it hurts you, but keep pushing. I know that it hurts you, but Yah is gonna keep you. I know that it hurts you, but keep pushing. I know that it hurts you, but Yah is gonna keep you. You seem pretty pissed and I don't want to intrude, but my ears open for you, homegirl, or my dude. When I see you in person, I'll dap you to five and tell you that I'm glad to see it, and I'm glad you're alive. If you feel like this world no longer leaves you in it, that's a lie from the devil. I'ma beat him with a shovel. Your life means something. You're an actual prize. Doesn't rhyme 100%, but I'm glad you're alive. I know that it hurts you, but keep pushing. I know that it hurts you, but Yah's gonna keep you. I know that it hurts you, but keep pushing. I know that it hurts you, but Yah's gonna keep you. I know that it hurts you, but keep pushing. I know that it hurts you, but Yah's gonna keep you. Hey, I know that it hurts you, but keep pushing. I know that it hurts you, but Yah is gonna keep you. Hey, Jerry Rios, got another angle. I'm glad you're alive too, brother.
this time, utilities and infrastructure operators, including regional rail services and nuclear power plants, reported that safety checks have been activated. No immediate abnormal readings or critical damage have been reported at nuclear facilities in the region. The tremor was felt across a broad swath of northern Japan, including coastal and inland areas and parts of the prefecture. There, quake registered up to upper 6 on Japan's seismic intensity scale, a level in which heavy furniture can topple, walls can crack, and even standing becomes difficult in such conditions. The risk for structural damage or injuries rises significantly. Through the capitalization of the earthquake's magnitude, it has been revised upwards by some agencies suggesting it's possible 7.6. Some are saying 7.8. In response to the quake, local and national authorities have mobilized emergency protocols. Evacuation orders remain in effect. The tsunami waves pose a danger, so this is an ongoing situation. Now, residents have been urged to stay alert even after initial waves. Further surges or aftershocks may occur. The coastal hazards can last for 4 hours. Now, at the moment, the full extent of the damage, if any, remains unclear. All right, a swarm of small earthquakes shook off the East Bay Tri-Valley region early May. This is in California. San Francisco. The strongest tremor, magnitude 3.7, struck at 9:07 a.m. about 2.5 miles south of San Diego. Remember, since September the 22nd, this area has been seeing storms, and this one broke out quick today. U.S. Geological Survey early earthquakes included a magnitude 3.0. Kimbler that struck about 5:21. There was also a magnitude 2.9. Earthquake at 2:33 and a magnitude 2.7 quake. There is no immediate reports of damage in those areas. The activity continues to run at low-level seismic events in the area, magnitude 2.6. If you've been keeping up with EarthFactor, he's been keeping an eye on this all day. God has warned us about all these events, and we're seeing them happen simultaneously. Keep your eyes open. There is a lot happening. This is more on it. The earthquake swarm continues shaking near East Bay, San Ramon in California. Early hours on Monday, December the 8th, the East Bay's Tri-Valley region was shaken by a cluster of small earthquakes. The strongest jolt in the morning reached magnitude 7 structure. Earlier in the day, the series of smaller quakes, including magnitude 3.0, 2.9, 2.7, rippled through the area. Authorities and seismologists reported no injuries or structural damage tied to these quakes. The area is what's important. That's what God warned us about. Rather than a simple major quake of aftershocks, they classify this pattern as an earthquake swarm, which we've been seeing a lot near San Francisco. A cluster of seized quakes occurring close together in a location. This particular swarm began on early November. Experts believe the ongoing sequence is related to shifting underground stress of the Caravella's fault, potentially influenced by small amounts of fluid movement within the fault system. The geology of the region remains that the swarm is not unusual. That's what they're going to tell you, because they don't want anybody to leave them. While swarms naturally raise public concern, scientists emphasize that it rarely indicates an impending larger earthquake. It always does. That's a lie. Although no one can completely rule out the possibility. Current data shows no sign a particular swarm is building towards a major seismic event. We're here to tell you, idiots. We've been watching this since September the 22nd, all up and down at least 3 or 4 to the Hayward Fault and many other fault lines there have been swarming. It's very unusual. Trust me, I've been watching it since I had that dream. And this activity has never happened until now. Only until now. The repeated shaking has prompted many residents to feel on edge, especially as quake spans early morning hours when people are most likely to notice sudden movements. Now, I don't know when this thing's going to go, but this is definitely God giving us a breadcrumb that it's getting close. Very, very close. All right, now, tonight another war broke out. Thailand declares peace treaty with Cambodia void. Thailand's prime minister has declared that the peace treaty in Cambodia, signed roughly 2 months ago and ensured by both Malaysia and the United States, is now void. So everything that he said, I brought peace, has failed. He ordered the closure of additional negotiation channels with the country, stating that only between Thailand and the adversary Cambodia. New fighting between the armed forces in both countries have now erupted. The unstable ceasefire between Cambodia and Thailand has erupted into a full-scale firefight between both armies. The Royal Thai Air Force bombed Cambodia positions at least one point in Cambodia's northwest. Thai troops have crossed into Cambodia. Deaths are occurring on both sides, and local civilian populations are being evacuated in the tens of thousands. This just broke out today, told you, walking on landmines. Thailand's military says the objective is to dismantle Cambodia's long-term military capabilities in order to prevent future threats and secure the border. This is breaking out all over. Now, here's where it gets into something very interesting. All right, so this morning, Russia has been taking a move so unexpected. Now remember, God already warned us about them just a week and a half ago. So strategically disrupted that they caught the United States off guard. In a way, we may not even seen since the early days of the Cold War. And the consequences of the move will reshape every calculation the Pentagon makes, every assumption NATO has held, and every model analysts use to predict Russia's behavior. Jesus did. He warned us over a week and a half ago. Because what Russia has done is not symbolic, not rhetoric, not mirror, and not reversible. What unfolded inside Russia over the past 72 hours, this was right before this, we got that. It's something no one in Washington, no one in NATO, as frankly no one in Moscow traditional circle of observers fully anticipated. It is kind of a step a great power takes when it feels strong and comfortable, but when it feels concerned, pressured, or determined to change the strategic picture in the favor. It's a shift that changes the balance of power in Europe and signals Moscow is preparing for a long, dangerous phase of confrontation that could define the next decade. Now, the first signs of this move appeared not on television, which we told you it wouldn't, but deep inside the intelligence channels that track Russia's most sensitive military activity for weeks. Now, we told you we've been watching some strange behavior from them over top through flight radar. We knew then something was wrong, and now it's coming out. Now, Russian units that typically remain stationary suddenly started moving. So these are units that don't move, and they know they're being tracked by satellites, so they try not to move. All of a sudden, it changed. Rail convoys transporting equipment usually burrowed in hardened storage, not anymore. Satellite heat signatures showing facilities active in usual hours. None of these also meant anything shocking, but the patterns did not match seasonal training. This didn't match Russia's previous mobilizations. They didn't match preparations for simple rotation of forces. Something else is happening, something bigger, and it's overnight. That's why God warned us. It repositioned a critical segment of the strategic deterrent forces into locations and configurations that dramatically alter the balance of risk in the United States and NATO. What Russia moved wasn't just equipment, it was a category of assets. The Kremlin normally hides, protects, or reveals only the moments of extreme geopolitical tension. Russia repositioned advanced mobile missile systems designed not for the battlefield use in Ukraine, but for long-range strategic deterrence against NATO. That's your first warning signs right there. These systems will move closer to Russia's western edge. That's why we're seeing all that stuff in flight radar. Integrated into two new command structures and placed under readiness protocols inconsistent with routine posturing. At the same time, Russia expanded its dispersing of their strategic strike assets across remote regions, making them harder to track, harder to target, and harder for the United States to assess accurately. This combination, forward movement of certain systems and the dispersion of others, is one of the most alarming patterns a great power can display. It signals preparation, it signals calculation, and that's what God was warning us about. It signals that Russia wants to increase uncertainty for the United States as the moment when Washington believed it had a clear picture of Moscow. Remember, we told you, you can't trust Putin, and he was playing this country. So that you understand the long-range strategic deterrence means long-range strategic deterrence. Deterrence is the act of preventing an adversary action of threatening or unacceptable counteraction. So these are the things that we see moving now that they wasn't moving before. So why now? Right after God gave us that money. This right here is why. So after that come out, this comes out. Now, we ain't going to give Ukraine them. I told you, they ain't giving it up. It wasn't happening. Congress, another $400 million to Ukraine. That's what you heard me. U.S. lawmakers on Sunday introduced an annual national defense authorization act proposing a record $901 billion in national security spending for the financial year 2026. Legislation extending President Trump's $892.6 billion includes $400 million to military aid, 4% pay increase. Speaker Mike Johnson, Republican from Louisiana, described the bill as step forward, advancing troops. As I said, Trump ain't not giving up that land, people. They ain't giving it up. They're fighting over natural resources. That's why we're in the Caribbean, people. They're fighting over resources. They're going to war. They already know it. They know America's economy is going to crash. This Trump and all of them knows it. They're lying to people, telling everybody it's going to be fine and they're going to fix it. They know that. They know it's not going to be fixed. So they're preparing. That's why they changed the Department of Defense to the Department of War. All the signs are there. People just don't believe it. But they're lying to them. I told you, God was warning us for a while that this was all a lie. This peace talk, peace, peace, peace. Paul said it. When they're saying all this, sudden destruction will come upon them. We've already seen that destruction. God has shown it to too many people that this dark day is coming. Earthquakes, everything. We just had another big X flare come off the sun. All the signs are there. You can't say you didn't know. You don't have to look at dates, calendars. You don't have to look at that. The signs are already there. They're right in front of you. You don't need any of that stuff. You don't need anybody telling you when it's going to be. What is that? It's already there. All you got to do now is continue to get people on the ark. But you don't need people telling you when it's going to be. You already know. Just like Paul said, you already know it's at the door. Everything that he told us to watch for is happening. Israel's surrounded. Everybody, two-state solution. It's all there. There's nothing else now unless besides getting people on the ark. That's why we're continuing to put out scripture and everything else, because we know it's time. We don't have to have anybody tell us it's going to be here 4 years from now, 8 years from now. We don't have to have that. We already know it's now because we can see the signs that Paul told us. He said, there's no need for me to write to you. So no. That's why I'm here. I'm just here to let you know that this hope is coming. It's coming soon. It's not an event that's way down the road. It's not. The reason I know that is because of what we've seen is what God's warned us about to look for in those days. It's going to happen at any time. Do not be fooled. Do not be deceived. Do not take your eyes. Do not lose your crown, people. There's people out there that will cause you to lose your crown. Do not do it. Stick to Scripture and your eyes on Jesus. I could give you any advice. I don't know when the rapture is. I know it's close because everything God has given us over the years is all happening now, simultaneously, just like He said it would. I would be paying attention. That's what I'm doing. I'm looking up every night. That's what I'm doing. And I advise anybody out there to be doing the same thing. But don't give up on Jesus because He didn't give up on you. And I promise you, He is at the door. The things that we've discussed over 3 years are happening now. San Francisco, all these wars. Ukraine, Russia, the list goes on and on. Israel, Iran, all the equipment moving all over the world. It's not peaceful. They're planning for a world war. This is one world war that we cannot be present in. It's going to set up the tribulation. That's what makes this one different. It's all setting it up. That's why the two-state solution, they're trying to hurry, put the board of peace with the 10 kings put together. Ladies and gentlemen, don't get in front of Jesus so you didn't know. There is no way anybody that knows Bible prophecy can sit and say it's not there. It's all there. If you study Scripture and know Bible prophecy, you know Jesus is going to show up. Everything He's warned us is happening. I've said it many times, but He's done everything but put a good gig with. It's all there. Word for word, even down to the places in Daniel that it talks about in Syria, are the same towns that things are happening there in Syria. Don't say you didn't. It's all there. Down to the place in Iran, Elam. All these things are at the door. When you see all these things, be looking is what's coming. Bottom line, the truth is, the world is at the verge of the end. It just is. Now, many ain't going to believe that because they don't believe Scripture. But the truth is, it's going to happen no matter if they believe it or not. Just make sure that you know what side you're on. But I'm here to tell you, people. People can tell you all they want. But I'm here to tell you, Jesus is at that door. It will happen very soon. Everything right now. This is why Paul was so confident in the last, when he was talking to everybody. He said, hey, you'll know. You won't have to ask questions. You'll know. We've already seen the great falling away. We've seen people's hearts, man's hearts grow cold. It's all there. Look around, people. Society is your clue. People today don't care that they're slaughtering babies at record pace and everything else. They don't care. It don't affect them. They don't care. That's where we are. The signs are all around you. All you have to do is open your eyes, but people don't want to see it. They've gotten so used to evil, this is another sign, that they've just got to test it. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. That's not a big deal. There's nothing we can do about it. That's another sign. It's all there. I just here to remind you. The little part of that sky, inside where you are. Trust the gospel. 1 Corinthians 15:1-4. Jesus died on the cross for our sins, past, present, and future. He died, was buried, rose again on the third day. According to the Scriptures, trust in Jesus and Jesus alone, confirm everything. He's coming. And he will part that sky at any moment. That's a guaranteed fact. How do I know that? Scripture. I don't need timelines. All I need is Israel. The timepiece. Watch them. Know you're close. And we are. Okay? That's the bottom line, people. If you learn to keep Israel as your timepiece, you cannot be taken off kilter or lose your life. Because they are the centerpiece of this whole thing. It's them. Okay? Bottom line. Now, we're being bombarded by a snowstorm right now. It's getting really nasty out there. Tomorrow's supposed to be okay. But the internet's been really slow. I was going to do a video earlier this morning. Just couldn't do anything. The internet was just so bad. Do it. Once again, keep me in your prayers. Keep everybody in your prayers. Thank you for everybody down there to come by and buy me coffees. All the other things you have. You can go to the website's the first link. What's up there? Anything you want to do, like I said, thank you all. I love each and every one of you. If I don't see everybody again, I'll see you now. Anything you want to do, like I said, thank you all, family members, for all that you do. I love each and every one of you. If I don't see or hear from you again, I'll see you at home.
Nah, dude, I don't really be doing that, man. I know you guys are thinking, like, I love how, like, all these people, like, on the internet be like, oh, Clay just still, like, blacks out all the time, this and that, you know what I mean? Because I'm lit, dude. Let's get another air bottle, bro. I love you guys.
I literally never thought I would be making another Only Use Me Blade video on this channel. In case you haven't been keeping up with him, he's kind of been radio silent for the past year or so. And the last time I covered him was because he came back and did a live stream of him getting absolutely plastered. And I'll link below that video. It kind of goes over up to that point the year prior, basically discussing his dependency on alcohol, his need to drink for viewers, his need to connect with somebody, and in order to connect with somebody, he's figured out that he can't just be doing non-tent streams because nobody wants to watch that. But he comes back recently because it's his 43rd birthday. That's right, everybody. Our big boy, he's turning the big 4-3, and he thought he could hop on stream and just, I don't know, decide to play the latest Call of Duty, because that's what everybody's tuning in for the latest games we played. Now, to give him some credit, there were a lot of people that showed up for the initial stream. There were a decent amount of donations. People were intrigued as to what he was up to. They were asking questions about prior characters in the arc, like Willie and Orange and Beck and all these people. Now, in case you haven't watched a Blade video in a while, you might be curious as to why hasn't he streamed what has he been doing, because his entire persona, his entire life basically up to this point has been live streaming, and now he just hasn't been doing it. And it's because he's become the full-time caretaker of his elderly mother. And so he lives in the apartment that his mother lives in and takes care of her. Now, as you will see in this debauchery of a live stream, well, 2 live streams that he does, it's questionable as to whether or not he's actually fit to be able to do this job, because Lit Romney is going to show back up pretty soon, and some chaos is going to ensue.
Everything's good. I thank you for the dono. Everything's a-okay, gravy. Mom's good. I pretty much just just been taking care of my mom, dude. That's pretty much about it. There's not really much interesting going on. It's a full-time gig, just taking care of her, doing those side hustles when I can, like find the time. Literally, dude, I wish I had something more interesting to tell you, but literally all I've been doing is, it's been pretty boring. I take care of my mom full-time.
So that's the entire premise of Blade at this point, because for a while he was, wavering back and forth about whether or not he wanted to go back home and take care of his mom. He had talked about how allegedly his mom had other caretakers. Because obviously from like a medical standpoint, Blade is not an expert. He doesn't really know anything. Now, could he do basic things to take care of her like any other son probably could? Yeah, but I don't know if I would want a compulsive alcoholic whose entire existence up until this point had kind of been, back talking your mother, who would try and talk to you about how your drinking on streams were a problem, how she didn't trust your ex-girlfriend, how you were living this just insane lifestyle, but you're gonna trade that all away to come take care of your ailing mother, which seems like a noble idea at first. And for the most part, at least on camera, we don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't really know anything besides that. But on camera, he hasn't done great. But off scenes, who really knows what he's doing, right? Like, he had his little relapse stream or whatever you want to call it basically a year ago. And, now he's returning again for what purpose? It's his birthday. Does he, and like my assumption, and we'll get to this a little bit later, is I do think he's just all cooped up inside of this place. Well, he has like weird friends that are all in their like 50s and 60s. I'm not entirely certain if this apartment complex is like a retirement complex where it's just like catered to older people. It doesn't really seem like he's interacting with people around his age anymore. He's starting to age out himself, to be completely honest, but he's just kind of cooped up here. He just wants to be able to talk to people, reconnect, try and dip his feet in, per se.
Oh, that's the other room that I do is Uber Eats. I can't do Uber Eats, dude. I literally got DUIs back in the day, so even, I feel like if I were to do the kick thing, I would probably have to get a VPN and like learn how to do like the gambling streams. Like, isn't that the dream, dude? You fucking play online slots and kick it with people. I'm not gonna lie, I've had like slip ups on a day-to-day basis, but I still consider myself like I'm on the wagon, you know what I mean?
So the red flags start to build up a little bit here, right? Because people are trying to piece things together. Now, obviously, I mean, the story has been very murky since this entire caretaker saga has gone on. Because when he went out to have a drink with Chicken Andy when he was in Seattle a year ago or so, he talked about how the state wouldn't grant him, whatever the funding is in order to be a full-time caretaker at that point because of his prior criminal history. And now he's still talking about his prior criminal history. I'm sure his mom gets some sort of stipend from the government, but Blade isn't getting much of that. He keeps talking about doing some side gigs, side hustles that he's making money through, but he can't do something basic like Uber. So maybe he has like an actual part-time job. Maybe he's, you know, packaging bags at the grocery store. Maybe he's carrying your cart out to your car in order to put your groceries away. I don't know. Maybe it's something like that. Maybe he's just too prideful in order to admit something like that. Other things, who really knows what it could possibly be? And so it's kind of foreshadowing for what people assume happens at the very end of the stream. Maybe his past delinquencies of choosing to overindulge himself and, you know, just hop right behind the wheel of the whack and go to town and just, you know, have a grand old time. Maybe that's going to catch back up to haunt him one of these days, and maybe that day is today.
We really need to turn. How? I literally, the only thing I can do is turn my phone off at this point. How? Dude, am I going to turn my phone off? Like, okay, if you turn the Wi-Fi off and the cellular off, wouldn't that just mean nothing gets through? Yeah, but the thing is, I'm not even trying to it's just a
So the cycle, again, just slowly starts to get the gears turning. You start to see some of the memories of the olden days, because, to be completely frank, you know, I kind of forgot about Blade. I think most people kind of did. The antics that Blade used to get up to in the past were extremely entertaining, to say the least. But he seems at least somewhat determined to want to try and rebrand himself. He even talks about, and this is from a video game perspective, but he talks about wanting to move on from the Blade moniker, and I think it goes a little bit deeper than just how he plays Call of Duty. I think in particular, he kind of wants to be a more chill, laid-back type of guy, but the entire atmosphere that he surrounds himself with whenever he does a live stream is going to completely prevent that. And we've seen it for what, the past decade? Ever since he started to do drinking streams, that is his persona. That's what he loves to do. And obviously it brings the viewers, it brings the money, it has all these dopamine rushes that fill him up. Now obviously it's completely detrimental to basically everything in his life, but the alternative is what he tries to do here, where he's trying to play Black Ops 7. He can't even do it because he can't figure out how to install it on his computer, and it's crashing consistently, so he's just rambling, telling random stories the entire time, and it's just a complete mess. I mean, he tries to talk about different things but can't keep his line of thought correctly. It's just all over the place. It's a very traditional kind of, when he first moved in with his mom again, he started doing streams like this for a little bit. It's kind of akin to what those were in the past, just like, what is he's not even talking about anything too interesting. He's trying to play a game that nobody's really interested in watching him do. And at the end of the day, he decides to go full mask off and do a follow-up stream the next day, because he ends up only streaming initially for like an hour, and that's because he took like an edible and it just completely zonked him out and he just had to end stream. So he follows it up the next day and says, you know what, I'm going back to the tried and true method. I'm going back to what everybody remembers me for.
This is for me for turning 43. 43, dude. To 43. No, I didn't need my mom's permission, dude. I'm literally 43, okay? 43 today.
The problem with this mindset is that it's not a mother-son dynamic anymore, right? It is an elderly patient and a caretaker, right? Like, yeah, you still have technically the mother-son dynamic, and unfortunately we're gonna see the state that Mama Blade is in at this point, because based on her speech and how she was interacting basically only a year ago, she has, at least to me, seemed like she's deteriorated a lot. And I don't think that a full-time caretaker that has to do everything for her should be getting plastered on live stream. I know that's a crazy bold statement, can't be saying things like that, but maybe, and like, here's the thing. If you wanted to have a single shot with your friends, air quote friends, on your live stream, okay, I get it. But the state that he's going to fall down into, and trust me, it's not just one bottle of Jaeger that he's going to absolutely decimate in this time span, alright? It's just going to go downhill extremely fast, and the idea that, well, I'm a grown-ass man, I can drink if I want to, is just so asinine, it's not even worth my time explaining.
Okay, the New Year's stream did not make me quit drinking. It made me... I stopped streaming after... I went to Vegas with Bone Clink, because that was like my last little hurrah. Because Hey, Pepper Chick, what up? Because I needed to come back home. My mom needs me full-time, and so now I'm a full-time caregiver for her. Not nearly as much as it used to be. Like, there was actually a good, almost a year sober, but then like a day for a stream, and then I decided tonight it was like a birthday thing. I want to do a birthday, but not. So we're here again, but on a day in, day out, dude, the drinks don't really happen. So, all right, here's my thing on this. If I were to slip into a getting super duper lit all the time thing, I want to be able to stream that doesn't involve this, you know what I mean?
So it's just this ultimate vice, right? Like how I explained, it's not possible for him to move back into doing streaming without drinking. It's like this compulsive codependency that both of those items have on each other. Him and the bottle. He needs to have it. And everybody, obviously, throughout the initial live stream where he just sort of rambles and tries to play video games, most of the donations are just there saying, hey Blade, Liddy again, where are you gonna do a fire sale? Let's have some drinks, let's do it, let's go out. And the spiral is going to continue, because it's not just him sitting there saying, well, it's my birthday, let's just have a little drinky poo. One little drinky poo won't hurt anybody, it's nothing too bad, right? And then it's just gonna slowly progress more and more and more. And at the same time, he keeps bringing up, well, I'm the caretaker for my mom, I have to watch out for her. So people are like, well, how's your mom doing? So we finally get our first glimpse at how Mama Blade is doing, and it's not great.
I just went down to the stairs. I can't see you. You want to say hi to him? So it's on my chest. I know you're very, very soft-spoken. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Brian. Hi, guys.
They really mad at you and they want to talk to him.
Thing of not showing your mother, who very clearly doesn't want to be on live stream, and it's gonna get so much worse than this later on. It's just a complete invasion of privacy, and it's especially somebody like this who, like, your mom can barely talk. She's currently in like a hospital style bed where you have one of those holy thingies in order to stabilize yourself, to be able to pull yourself up because you don't have the physical strength to do it anymore. But your son's coming in and showing off the botted live stream viewers, because while I didn't watch the stream right when it was going on, I had watched the report of it. I can't imagine the Blade was 4K viewers necessarily. Now it's maybe 1,000, maybe something like that. But the numbers seem a bit off, obviously, and he keeps going back and forth because I think he's trying to figure out exactly what he's doing. Because I feel like we're kind of experiencing, maybe not every day, but maybe an average type of night for Blade, because he basically just keeps going back and forth with coming upstairs, checking on his mom, having a drink, going downstairs, having a cigarette, and then repeating the cycle over and over and over again.
So that was really odd.
He's just, I'm just gonna start drinking an entire bottle, an entire handle. Who cares? You know, he's gonna go back out and probably get another one a little bit later.
All the time to be stressing.
How are you gonna get to the school?
I'm gonna fucking talk to dude. Mom, I love you. Let me. Come on. I gotta go. Actually, you know what, Mom? That's a good thing. I'm not grabbing the car. Don't worry about it. That's my car. I got you, Mom.
So we get a little bit more foreshadowing, right? Because he's over there, he's talking to one of his friends that I think used to live in the area and moved away for the character this person is. But essentially, he keeps talking about how he's going through his bottle and he has to go get another bottle, but he's clearly hammered. And he's talking to his mom how, well, it's not even your car anymore, Mom, because he was talking earlier in the stream that he has his Cadillac, but he doesn't drive his Cadillac anymore because his mom doesn't drive, so he just drives his mom car everywhere. And now he's saying, well, straight to her face, I'm Liddy again, I need to go out, I'm gonna take my mom's car. And she is literally just laying there. And like the amount of disrespect that this just brings just to his mom, to himself, it's honestly just disgusting to be quite frank. Like, and I was even willing to give some leeway to say you can have a drinky poo, one little drinky poo to celebrate your birthday. I get it, no big deal. But if he's willing to show this, he's willing to live stream this, he's willing to go back down this path that he did in the past, you're thinking that he's not doing this behind the scenes? You don't think that he's having a little drinky poo every once in a while? And it goes a little bit further because he goes downstairs and he's quite sloshed at this point, and there are all these like older gentlemen that I guess are his only friends that he hangs out with at this apartment complex that he lives at.
Bet my car gets fixed out than yours, dude. Cadillac versus Lexus, prison. Liddy again. Check it out, dude. What's up, Pistachio? I gotta do some things. I got a bar near me, person now. Where's that, person? I got 40,000 people watching.
Really?
Yeah. Taco.
How many people do that?
That wasn't Vince.
He's the man. All you ladies of the 80s and above, come on over here and get some of this man's blood.
But at the same time, it's just like, this point in particular, now, obviously, everything that Blade's doing, I think, is irresponsible. It's not helping his mother, it's not helping himself. But just like, let's just take this particular moment in time and extrapolate a little bit. This existence for Blade must be very sad. Just very sad, very dreary. I mean, his activities are hanging out with, like, what, retirees as they play ping pong in the apartment lobby room? Like, the hangout space? These are his best friends. These are the people that he interacts with. Obviously, I'm not trying to just slam doink on old people. That's not my objective. I'm just saying that Blade transitioned from this lifestyle of going out and partying nonstop, and now he has to come to the reality that this is his new existence. Is this like more relaxed, laid back doldrums? And I think it just like spirals in his head. I don't think he's like comfortable with that reality. And so I feel like these little drinky poos that he decides to do, these are his outlet. And at the same time, the reality, the consequences of his actions come back to haunt him because, as I was saying, he goes through this cycle of, you know, having some drinks, going downstairs, coming back upstairs to check on his mom. Well, he comes back upstairs and his mom, who is frail and weak, had to stumble her way over in order to use the bathroom by herself, and her drunk son comes inside saying, I'm here to help you, Mom, don't worry, I'm gonna help you out. So Beck ends up calling him while he's sitting there because the camera is pointing into the bathroom. Now we luckily at this moment cannot see his mother, and I'm not going to show his mother because this is so downright disrespectful. It is just so like I can't even put to words like how I feel necessarily about this, and it's just because your whole sole objective is to take care of your mother, and what is happening on this live stream is not that. If anything, it's neglect. All right, that is what I think is actually happening, and I've said it since the very beginning that I don't think Blade is equipped to take care of his mother. All right. And clearly, moments like this, whether or not he has the physical capabilities to do things, his judgment is awful. Because he leaves the live stream on, and his mom ends up getting up from the toilet, and you can see that she's not wearing any pants or any underwear or anything from the bottom half. And I'm clearly not going to show that on here, but just the asinine behavior, because he even gets a call from Beck, and Beck says, "Hey, your camera is pointing into the bathroom. Go turn it or turn it off or something." And he says, "No, this is my content." It's just like, come on, man. Like, no amount of like effort and time is ever gonna like rectify his horrible image. Like, this was a potential turnaround moment, and that's what I thought was gonna happen years ago. After the whole New Year's blowout event with the cops that happened, I thought that, you know what? Seems like Blade's gonna move back there. He's gonna turn his life around. He's gonna fix his relationship with his mom, and maybe he pretends like that is what's actually happening.